Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and today we're doing a little bit of a behind the scenes, a deep dive, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of a professional spirits taster. But before I show you how the microwavable pizza is made, or whatever the saying is, let's first talk about today's video sponsor. Today's video is once again brought to us by our great friends over at ZBiotics. ZBiotics is the world's very first pre-alcohol probiotic drink. What's a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, you may ask? Super good question. A pre-alcohol probiotic drink looks like this. You just give it a shake and give it a drink. And after you drink your ZBiotics, you can go ahead and enjoy some alcoholic drinks. And the next morning when you wake up, you're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel like, why didn't I start drinking ZBiotics sooner? ZBiotics is proudly genetically modified by scientists who do science stuff, and they figured out a way for ZBiotics to start doing things in your body to break down the toxic byproduct of alcohol before it even gets to your liver, so that when you wake up the morning after drinking, you can deliver. ZBiotics also has a 100% money back guarantee, so if it doesn't work for you, you get your money back. Click on my link in the description below, go to zbiotics.com/ADHD, use code ADHD at checkout, and you'll save 15% off your first box of ZBiotics. Now that we've talked about today's video sponsor, let's talk a little bit about the Ascot Awards. The reason I wanted to give you a behind the scenes look at what it's like to be a spirits taster or a judge, a spirits judge, is because I always wondered these things. I always wondered how it worked, how the gravy was made. When you see these awards on bottles, it's like, how in the heck did they get these awards? How does it work? What's the process like? How do these brands acquire these medals? Is it legitimate? Is there any funny business going on? These are all things I wanted to know, and that's why I want to give you a behind the scenes look at what it's like to be a spirits taster for the Ascot Awards. This is my second year as a judge for the American Spirits Council of Tasters Ascot Awards. Probably know the gentleman who is behind this competition, the face of the competition, the man who wears the ascot himself, Fred Minnick. Fred was kind enough last year to invite me to participate, to be a judge, to be a professional taster for his Ascot Awards. At first I thought he was joking, but then I realized he wasn't, and I said, where do I sign? Of course I was super flattered when he reached out, and I was like, absolutely, I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that. So last year I sampled what I believe to be about 45 different spirits and scored them. It was a super interesting experience, super cool, and I didn't know if it was gonna be a one-time thing or if there was gonna be other opportunities in the future. This year, guess what? Got another email, and it was from the Ascot Awards, and they said, hey Matt, we want you back, brother. When I say I was flattered, that's kind of an understatement. For somebody of Fred's caliber, on Fred's level, to be a professional in the business, to reach out to me and ask me for my expertise, to lean on me to help score these whiskeys and these spirits was super, I don't know what the word is. It means a lot. Like, it super means a lot, and I take this really seriously. I know I'm a bit of a goofball in my videos, and I'm a bit of a goofball in real life, but when it comes to this, I take it super seriously. Do I believe I have the best palate on the planet? No, I do not. But in 2020, Bardstown Bourbon Company did a nationwide search to find the best whiskey taster on the planet, and I won it, so I don't say it, but they did. They said it. They said I'm the best. I never said I was the best. A nationwide search for the world's top whiskey taster did. Anyway, got my sheet from the Ascots. We are honored to have you participate as an official judge in the 2023 Ascot Awards. Inside this box, you will find product samples, rules, and a master list of the products you will be judging. We ask that you complete the tasting and finalize your scores and comments no later than April 23rd. So, after receiving the samples, I have a couple weeks to go through these samples, taste them properly out of a Glencairn glass. All samples are to be tasted out of the same type of glassware. The Glencairn is their glassware of choice for the Ascot Awards. Judging for these spirits is based on a 100-point system. After sampling the spirit, I'm to assign a numerical score to each sample. That score ranges from 60 points to 100. 60 to 75, not recommended, does not receive a medal. 75 to 79 points, recommended, honorable mention. 80 to 89 points would be a gold medal. 90 to 94 points, is exceptional. It's a platinum medal. And 95 to 100 points is excellent. It's a double platinum. After I assign scores to these samples and give notes, they determine the award level by averaging each judge's score who scored that particular sample. Now, like I said, last year I had like 45 samples that I tasted. Last year I was tasting American whiskeys, bourbons, and ryes. I did some single barrel bourbons. I scored some flavored whiskeys. I also scored some vodkas, some rums, and I believe there was a few Scotch whiskeys in the mix. This year, I have a bit more of a workload. I said, listen, Fred, go ahead and hit me with the big stuff. Hit me with a big box. And he did. This year, I got 2 sides of a paper, 96 samples in total, 96 samples that I must taste and score appropriately over a couple week period. We got small batch bourbon, 6 to 10 years old, single barrel bourbon, up to 10 years old. I have special barrel finished bourbons, a category for a blend of straight bourbon, special barrel finished ryes, American rye whiskeys, craft rye whiskeys. We have a handful of vodkas again this year, a few flavored vodkas, and about a dozen or so liqueurs that I'll be scoring as well. On days that I'm tasting and scoring, I try to make sure that my palate is like top notch. I make sure my diet is very bland throughout the day. That way I don't have a bunch of like strong flavors that have already, abducted my palate and taken it to PATRON. So I try to have a very bland diet on the days that I'm tasting. I also make sure that there's no strong aromas in the house or in the area of which I'm tasting. For example, if I cooked spaghetti for the kiddos and there was garlic in the sauce or garlic on the meat, or even frying meat in general, that gets into the air and it completely screws up my nose and my palate. And if that's the case, if that's in the house, I don't taste on that day. I can't do it. So I try to make sure that my palate and my nose is like in top working order. I'm gonna taste all 96 of these once and give them a score. And then I'm gonna go back, taste them all again, and rescore them. I'm gonna take an average of my 2 scores, and on the second run, I'll also do my note taking. In order for these producers to enter the competition, they do have to pay an entrance fee and send bottles of the spirit. So it's not like a cheap thing to do. So as a professional and as a judge, I want to make sure that anything that is on this list, anything that I taste, I take super seriously and I pretend like it's something that I sent in. If I sent something to a spirits competition to be judged, I would want to know that the judge on the other side, the person who's tasting it, is taking it super seriously, isn't cutting corners, and is not only proficient in what they're tasting, but actually excited about doing it. So I don't taste if I'm in a bad mood. I don't taste if I've had a bad day. I don't taste if I'm sidetracked. I don't taste if I have other things going on. If there's a bunch of distractions around me, I will not do it. I want to make sure that when I do this, when I taste, it's all I'm doing and all I'm thinking about. That's just the way I approach this. I know that other tasters are different. There are a lot of spirits competitions where the judges go to the competition and score on site with a group of judges. I believe the San Francisco World Spirits Competition is that way. And I hope to one day be a part of one of those. I hope that the Ascots is someday that way, where all the judges can go to one space, one area, and do all the judging. But until that day comes, if it does, we are to taste on our own schedule and in our own environments. If you wonder what 96 samples looks like, there's half of them. This is one of 2 full boxes. I know this video wasn't extra entertaining or like super funny and silly and stuff, but I just wanted to make a video that kind of went behind the scenes a little bit, maybe cleared up some questions for you regarding spirits competitions. I also have a spirits competition. It is called the Totally Legit Neighborhood Spirits Competition, and it doesn't exist. I am super proud and super humbled and flattered that I am asked to be a judge in competitions such as the Ascots. So thank you, Fred Minnick, for selecting me to be a judge again this year, and I won't let you down. I will judge the heck out of these spirits, and I will award 0 medals. That's a joke. That's a joke. Thank you everybody for watching. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Do you have any questions? Anything I didn't cover that you're curious about when it comes to being a judge of a spirits competition or the Ascots in general? Leave that comment down below and I'll be sure to answer it. And until next time, my name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on being whatever you want to be when you grow up. Unless, of course, it's a professional athlete, because wasn't built for that. But some say whiskey tasting is a sport, and by some people, I mean me, because whiskey tasting is a sport. And I will stand outside ESPN headquarters with a cardboard sign that says that until they start covering it. And since whiskey tasting is a sport, then I guess that makes me a professional athlete. And all my dreams when I was a child came true. So you really can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. Just bend the occupational titles a little bit, and you can be whatever you want to be. Love you all. Have a great day. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.